Kälte tanzen durchtrieben. Du kannst es hören, du kannst es fühlen. Das rote Licht ist uns geblieben. Das rote Licht ist uns geblieben. Wir tanzen hinter rotem Glas. Das rote Licht ist uns geblieben.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are back for ACC Racing here at Box 3 Motorsports. Thanks so much for joining me. My name is Adam, and I will be your host today for the first of 3 summertime casual events. So not our usual, this is not a league race. There's no championship points here. We're going to talk about what's going on, but as you can see, we are headed to Indianapolis. It's going to be a ton of fun. This is our first time running at this track in the league, as I just prep my stuff here and get things connected as they need to be to ensure you guys have the best experience possible. Don't forget exclamation point pit wall in the chat. That is now up and running, and you should be able to connect to our pit wall session. Make sure it's working for me. There we go. We're up and running. All right, let's get everything going here and get out on track. Get ready for today's race. So we'll talk a little bit about what's going to happen during the free practice, which is about a 5-minute, and the 15-minute qualification. So we'll get on with that here in just a moment. Right now, most of the drivers in the pits. Hope everyone's having a great weekend. I am exhausted right now with everything that I've had going on this weekend, but still worth it. Still had a good weekend. A lot of fun. A lot of tiring, but a lot of fun. There we go. All right, let's get switched over with everything kicked up, and we will get right over to our main race screen. Gonna see a lot of new drivers today, I have a feeling, because again, this is a special event series that's going on right now. Not a championship season. So what's happening today? Why do I keep saying that this is not a championship season? Well, it's pretty straightforward. Summertime, people are outside, not a ton of people want to sign up for a lengthy race season. So what we're doing instead is jumping in and really just looking to run some casual events. So again, no championship points today, but we're doing it with a little bit of a different tact, right? Each race is going to be a little bit different. So let me see if I can explain it to you. Today's race here at Indianapolis, as you might have seen in the title for the stream today, is Floor is Lava. I can tell you right now, the track temperature on track is 56°C for these guys during this quick free practice session as we go in to get qualifying. Now, here's the other part of this race. Not only is the track temperature at 56°C, so we're probably melting rubbers off, rubber off the tires a little bit, right? It's not going to be that great. But not only that, but the guys only get to use one set of tires. Okay? One set of tires during the entire weekend, meaning whatever they're driving now. And that's why you see, if we go back to pit lane real quick, you're going to notice these guys are not out driving. They know better because they need to hold on to their tires until they can qualify and then race. So a few guys heading out. We've got Jonathan Biscotto out on track. Oliver Speed is driving right now. Those are the only two brave enough to go out and put some laps on their tires during this opening practice session, because everybody else understands. Looks like Dylan Platt has headed out as well. These guys understand they're not going to last forever. They're not going to last forever. And this is a 1-hour race today. So, well, here's the only thing with that scientist monkey is it will hopefully hit 63°C. We'll find out. But the thing is, in server settings now, you don't set track temp, you just set ambient. Track temp has been deprecated. At least that's to the best of my knowledge. But with that said, hopefully it will get up to 63°C. We will see if that happens. Either way, even at 57°C now, it is toasty. We'll see what's going on. But right there, a new fastest lap in this free practice session, finishing out from Dylan Platt at a 1:42.3. Again, I hope everyone's having a great weekend, ready to start this week off. Now, let's talk a little bit while we're waiting for this to swing. Hey, thank you, Whelp Cakes. Let's go. Thank you for that subscription, my man. What is going on today? Picked a great day to join us. It's going to be a lot of fun seeing whether or not... here's my curiosity. Number one, it's a casual event. So no real stewarding or anything going on. Hopefully these guys keep calm throughout this event, right? We don't end up with a T1 shenanigans like we had at Watkins Glen last week. That's the big hope. Okay, so no, that's number one. Number two, are these tires going to make it a full hour? Are they going to really be able to hold on these tires for an hour? And are we going to have to see? Because they can make a tire swap. A tire swap is allowed. However, when they swap, they have to swap to the wet tires. They cannot swap to another set of dry tires. It's getting really interesting. But while we talk about that, you know, again, today is the floor is lava. Coming up next week, August 14th, we will be heading to the Circuit of the Americas, and this time the ice rink is open. It's gonna get chilly. Let's go. We're gonna take those temps way down. Now I think there are gonna be some special rules. I'm not 100% sure what all those are. We'll see what happens. And as Science Monkey in the chat said, the track temp is now 63 degrees, a balmy 49 Celsius ambient temperature, which I'm not even sure that's possible without people dying. I'm really not. But again, we're coming back next week. August 14th will be the ice rink race. So as I said, you know, we're going to kind of doing some different things with these races. You're going to see a bunch of different stuff happening. And it does look like this time drivers are going to head out on track. Maybe get some qualifying in. We'll see if anybody else moves. You know, Dylan Platt, Oliver Speed, Tobias Gable, it looks like are all headed out on track. Simone Alessandro is heading out. Boy, that's cut off in my screen. So we're just going to go with Simone Alessandro. So a good number of drivers actually heading out now to do some laps here in qualifying. Got about 14 minutes left to go there. Michel Santello heads out. Matt Comiskey returns this week for this fun event. Now, I'm most willing to bet, though, that what's going to happen is, again, you know, Maz in the chat saying starting from the back. 100% get it. Even the guys that are going out to qual, I'm kind of thinking we're going to see, you know, we're going to see our out lap, and then we're going to see one flying lap, and they're going to dive it back into the pits and just sit in the pits for the entire 15 minutes, the rest of the 15 minutes. Well, I mean, as long as you've set a time and you feel that you're happy with that time, why burn rubber off the tires? Save as much as you can. Keep them on the car and get ready for the race. And maybe, you know, you start a little further up front. Saves you some time, obviously, trying to get through traffic by starting from the back. But at the same time, you haven't lost a ton of usefulness on those tires. Dylan Platt out for a pleasure drive today in the Audi. Just taking his time. Look at that. There you go, sir. Have at it. Good number of drivers out on track at this point, though. We do have 22 drivers in Indianapolis today. Stephen Dunn returns. Professor Chronotis is back. We saw him last week at Watkins Glen. Very fancy BMW livery out there. Choose 420 in that Ferrari. And already the door banging has begun. As Craig Townsend in the Audi looks to clear space. Got Morris joining today. A lot of Audis on track for this event. Ahmet Sadar Argulu sitting in the pits. Paul Morris as well right there with him. Matt Redfern out on track. Retro Coffin joins us. It is Porsche, but a lot of Audis out there today. Curious to see how many different drivers we now have taking that Audi out. It is the meta at this point. We'll see how long Kunos lets that stand. As we wait in there, Tobias Gable with a 142.715 sets our first lap of this race. That new red livery of his. And Oliver Speed, 143. And as you see right there already, Nathan Tuck jumping up to a 141.832 to take up pole position. And there it is right there. I think, you know, you're going to see him roll out. Oh, maybe he's going to stay out on track. Doesn't look like a clean lap right there. And oh, now Comiskey all the way down to a 147.22. Very fast drivers here in Indianapolis. A single 140 to this point, a 141, and we've got two 142s and two 143s. And another fastest lap with a 139.105 from Warwick Vike. And as I said, there you see dropping right back to the pits. Not going to go out there and burn any more rubber off the tire. Wants to make sure he has as much as available as possible. A lot of drivers now heading back in. We take a look at Ronnie Bruskowski in the Ferrari today. So yeah, a lot of drivers, even Craig Townsend with a 149.1 has said, you know what, I'm good. I'm going to head back to the pits and save my tires. I'm good with starting towards the back. No big deal. All right. Cars continue to dive right back in. Now, I didn't get a chance to mention the last race of this 3-race series coming out in 2 weeks. Punch-out race. So basically, the driver... And the rules are not completely 100%. It's really going to depend on turnout, how many drivers we have. So we provide a fun day and at least, you know, a 45 to a 1 hour minute race. Or to a 1 hour race. That said, what's going to happen is every 3 laps, you know, so the guys will qualify. We get the race started. Every 3 laps, either the last or the 2 drivers who are in last place will end up dropping out and heading for the pits. That's my understanding. I didn't plan this event, so I'll have more details next week when we're driving on an ice rink. But until then, that's the little 3 short casual summer series that we're currently running. Don't forget to, I got to bring it all up because we have time right now. We're coming back August 20th right here, so just a few weeks out. 949 with Trackalicious and Box 3 coming together for a 6-hour endurance series. And we will be back. You can watch that right here. We're heading to Mount Panorama on August 20th. It is going to be fantastic. I love the mountain. I love the mountain. It's going to be so much fun. And we're going to get to watch all these guys go. Stephen Dunn now with a 139.2. Not able to beat out Warwick, but very close, putting himself up into P2. So again, 6-hour endurance racing on August 20th. We'll be here for that, so make sure you join us. If you're a console racer, we have you covered for the summer. Because now through the end of August, we are running our regular Season 4 of Xbox ACC Racing. These guys will be back. They were in Zandvoort yesterday, back next week for Spa. Only 2 races left in this season. We'll have to look to kick over Season 5. But Xbox isn't done, because if you enjoyed GT4, we're running a real quick GT4 series. That got started last week, actually running today, right about the same time here. And 2 more weeks of that. So GT4 casual racing on Sundays in August with Xbox. And starting next week, Box3 Motorsports coming up with TCR Season 1. We're taking the touring cars out in iRacing. Okayama is the kickoff for that. Lime Rock, Alton Park, Summit Point, Oran Park, and Tsukuba, sorry. And we will be here for all of those. I'll be streaming those myself, but you might be able to watch it right here. I won't be around for the August 13th or the August... yeah, I might make the rest of those because we skipped the week of the endurance, so that'll work. Let's get back over to our qualifications. Again, Warwick Vike able to hold on to P1 so far, but Stephen Dunn is there with our second 139. Nikos Hanke in the pits, but another 139. So 3 very fast drivers up here in the first 2 rows. Matt Comiskey still sitting in the pits with a 147.22. So only our top 3 right now hitting the 139s, breaking down south of 140. But 3 is enough to have a real barn burner down that very long straight at Indianapolis. Take a fast look. Oh. Take a fast look at that track map. It gives you a bit of an idea there what we're looking at. And again, you see where the cars are parked in the pits. It's an extremely long straight to pick up a ton of speed with a very sharp T1 coming into this. So these guys are going to struggle in this weather to maintain control. And again, it's casual racing. I hope we're not going to go full pubs here, but yeah, what can you do? It's going to be curious to say the least. We check in with Dylan Platt, currently sitting 8th with a 141.9. Dylan, believing he can do a little better, wants to get himself out there. Continues to stay on track throughout qualifying, just under 5 minutes left to go. DT Bubs in the chat. Sir, I hope you're doing well. I was actually thinking about you earlier today. I hope you're all right. I hadn't talked to you in a while. It's been a minute. And was hoping I was going to see you around soon. We, catch up a little bit, see how things are doing. But I hope you are well this weekend, sir. We do have a new fastest lap, Jan Barth, lighting it up in the Porsche, down to 1:38.5. Guy's setting some super fast times in that 934 Porsche. Definitely want to keep an eye on Jan Barth as he heads into the pits. Bias Gable, another one staying out. Bias so far, best lap 142.372. Now 23 drivers on track for this race today. Again, we're having a 1 hour race session coming up. Track temperature currently 63 C in Indianapolis. Drivers only allowed 1 set of tires for the entire weekend. I do remember, Jan. Did a good job. Did a great job. And getting some practice in with that 138.5. Very speedy here at Indy. Jonathan Piscato, another one, 141.095 right now, but still out on track, trying to bring that down just a little bit. Currently a 10th up on his fastest. And we'll see if Jonathan's able to move up out of P7 before the end of this qual session. So if we take a look here, and again, it's a short session. It's not a lot to look at. We take a look at Jan Barth right now. Average lap times across this has been 138.592. Now, Warwick Veek sitting in second position with that 139.105. Their average is that 139.105 across 3 laps. So Jan, obviously with the pace there over Warwick, we'll see if that continues through this race. But already just here in this short qualifying session, we can see the gaps start to open up, even if qualifying is relatively close. Obviously, Jan's 138 lap time, bringing that average down. I think both were only across 3 laps. So not a ton of comparison there. But it's still a gap that's relatively wide open. We'll see if Jan's able to pull away. Again, long straight coming into this. Then we're talking a very sharp right-hander for T1. This isn't Monza, but, well, it's not Watkins either. Watkins with that nice, long, sweeping right-hand turn really shouldn't be too big of a problem. We saw that it was last week, but it really shouldn't be that big of a problem. Here in Indianapolis, though, that first corner is extremely tight. So hopefully folks are able to keep themselves calm into lap 1. P1. We get some good racing here today. Should mention as well, coming up later, and I have nothing to show anybody, obviously yet, but season 4 of PCACC racing at Box 3 Motorsports will be starting after this short 3-week summer series. I think there's a week gap in there, and then season 4 will be kicking off. Not only that, but coming in October, expect very soon an announcement for an upcoming 24-hour race hosted by Box 3 Motorsports in support of Extra Life. That's going to be our annual charity race, and we will see where we're going. As we get those details locked in, I have multiple kinds of racing I want to do in that 24 hours. And I just had a thought in my head today that I'm going to try and put on paper tomorrow and get over to the league leadership and see if they want to jump in on that. But 24 hours of racing, it's going to be crazy. We did one earlier this year. It died at 21 hours, but still a fantastic time was had by all. It was absolutely awesome. As our qualifying session comes to an end, Jan Barth, oh, but hold on, no. Jan Barth losing pole position right at the last moment with a 138.422 from Amit Sadar Kargulu as he locks in pole here at the end of qualification. Armin Petrovic's able to jump up to a 139.417, so a lot of drivers decide to stay out for a lot of this race. And now we're going to see what happens as we come into this because, again, no tire swaps. If you do feel like you need one, the only one you're doing is to a wet set of tires, right? You will not be putting on another set of dries. So just something to keep in mind as this race kicks off. And we are doing a 1-hour race today. As I said, 63°C track temperature, a sunny 49 degrees Celsius in Indianapolis. Absolutely going to burn the rubber off these tires. It's going to get crazy. Oh, and holy cow, it jumped up again right here at the end, and I didn't even notice. Choose 420 now jumps, pushing Amit and Jan back with a 137.820 right at the end of qualification. Absolutely insane. That is pretty fast, if I have to say so myself. So with that, Choose 420 and Amit will share row 1. Jan Barth and Warwick, row 2. Stephen Dunn and Armin Petrovics, row 3. Nikos and Matt Comiskey will sit in row 4. Dylan Platt and Jonathan Boscato, row 5. Michael Santello and Nathan Tuck, row 6. Simon Alessandro and Matt Redfern, row 7. Tobias Gable, Alejandro Abali, row 8. Scott Morris, Professor Chronotis in row 9. Oliver Speed and Ronnie I'm trying so hard today. Broskowski, they're row 10. Greg Townsend, Paul Morris in row 11, and Retro Coffin will bring up the back in row 12, all by himself. All by himself. Paul Morris, one of our drivers, not setting a time today. Starting back there with Craig Townsend and Retro Coffin. But Choose able to lock it down at the last second in qualifying to take up pole position. He'll have that inside line into T1, which he's going to need. I don't know how you're not going to need it. It's going to be crazy. Start with Choose up front in that number 27 Ferrari. Amit Serder right next door. 23 drivers on track for this event today as we get ready for our formation lap. Taking a look at gap times, everything else throughout this race. Again, if you want to keep an eye on live timing for today's event, exclamation point pit wall in the chat will get you all that information. Head over there. Obviously, you are able to see Push. TG, I can't. That's not going to help me right now. I'm gonna break. I just won't say it because I don't want to get yelled at today. I'm tired. Really tired. Really tired. I didn't think about that, Zap. Yeah, some of the guys opting to maybe use their wets during qualification. A lot of Audis on track, but beyond that, if you look at our top 5, a complete mix of manufacturers: Ferrari, Beamer, Porsche, Honda, Bentley, all the way down to the 6th as well. We have Mercedes. Yeah, everybody's represented today. There's even a Nissan on track, and Oliver Speed is driving. We are set for 1 hour at Indianapolis as we get ready for our formation lap here. Choose 420 leading the way. Again, our first time as a league driving at Indianapolis. These tracks just released. Indianapolis, Coda, Watkins Glen, just released recently during the month of July for ACC as a new DLC. So guys, the drivers really getting their first opportunity in league competition, casual event or not, still league competition, to put their skills to the test at these American tracks. Watkins Glen race, I gotta say, the 3 hours at the Glen last week, a lot of fun. I mean, obviously a massive conflagration up front. T1, a bomb. We missed that on stream as the leaders were very close. We had to stay up there. But then on lap 2 or 3, another, what again we would call a racing incident. Nobody 100% at fault. Drivers just driving hard. A little bit of door banging really all it was, but it led to a massive pileup. That was just unbelievable. It was just crazy. So I already did Scientist Monkey. We're going for Punch Out, but all the rules are not finalized, and I didn't have a graphic before the race, so unfortunately I can't throw that up. But we'll have it next week. We will get all the details ready to go for that. Sign-ups for that should be out this week, so it will make it easier. People can start signing up. Head over to Box3 Motorsports on Discord. Exclamation box in the chat if you are not already a member. You can join in this casual summer series. Right now using pit wall, we're going to keep an eye on Choose and Amit up front to see our lap times, see what kind of times these guys set, cross averages as our race gets started. Really curious to see what happens down into T1 when we get the green flag here today. As our drivers start getting ready to line up into double file. Think he's sandbagging Zap? I don't know. He could be. Said he wasn't happy with his lap time, but he'd take it. So see what happens as we open it up here and get ready to head down into T1. The green flag is gonna drop, and we are off for the next hour at Indianapolis as Choose races Amit down into T1. Jam Barth getting very tight up in there, hanging with these guys. Looks like Choose backing off through the corner and allowing Amit to take up position. Warwick able to get up into third over Jan Barth. Steven Dunn moving up as well over Armand Petrovic, and Nikos now getting ahead of Armans. And Tobias Gable with contact against Scott Morris, number 12. But very clean overall. We can't complain too much about that T1 as we jump back up front with Warwick Vich leading out a group of Jan Barth, Steven Dunn, Nikos Handke. Welcome in, Jet Drives. Thank you for being here. But Ahmet able to jump up front very quickly over Choose. Now that gap closing in, but there was about a 0.7 of a second gap between the two of them. Comiskey. Oh, and we've got some action back here as Comiskey and Petrovic come together. Tobias Gable able to sneak by along with Jonathan Biscotto. Comiskey holding on to P8 thus far, but Tobias Gable is closing that gap very quickly. Gable are up the inside on that Audi. And there he goes. Tobias Gable taking up P8, knocking Matt Comiskey back just a bit. Get back up front to Ahmet leading Choose. Choose is tucked the nose of that car right up under the wing of Ahmet's BMW. Pull it out coming into the first corner again. We're gonna roll it. Steve Dunn moving up now into P4 over Jan Barth. Jan Barth leading Dylan Platt and Nikos Hanke through the first series through sector 1. Ahmet now opening that gap. You see that gap between 1 and 2 now about 1 second. A lot of trading places here at the front of this race. And I'm seeing accidents listed in my highlights list here, but nothing that looks like it was overly aggressive. We don't see cars bailing off the track and nothing crazy, right? A few rubbing and bumping, that happens, but we don't see a pile up like we had last week at Watkins. Drivers already now starting to speed out. Oliver Speed under pressure from Chronotis, and Chronotis sneaking by, as does Alejandro Avali and Craig Townsend. Oliver Speed looking for an opportunity to rejoin the track, just couldn't find it. Drops 6 spots very quickly. Ronnie now leading this guy in that number 6 Ferrari. Leading the group of Oliver Speed, Paul Morris, and Retro Coffin around track. And we've got contact back here. Ronnie and Oliver Speed. Oliver Speed now getting around, all of them getting around as Ronnie slides off track. Choose 420 and Warwick now battling. Choose taking up position. Looks like he had lost it and gained it back, but Ahmet has now opened up that gap to 2.3 seconds, just has pulled away from the pack. Nikos hand under as Tobias Gable blows by Nikos. So how much is, you know, look, we obviously have good drivers in Box 3 and 100% not going to sit back and say that somebody's not driving well. That's not what I'm talking about. But how much, you know, of all the action we're seeing of people getting around each other and what seems to be doors being open relatively easily, right? As we see Matt Redfern there just takes up position over Jonathan Biscotto. So how much of that is good hard racing, which I'm sure is a massive portion of it, and how much of it is drivers trying to save their tires and maintain position, but not burn them out before the end of this race? Dan Barth taking up over Tobias Gable. Tobias right there, though. Tobias running the 139 is fat. He has the fastest lap in the race so far, 139.162 over Ahmet's 139.570. So Tobias having a very good race. Started out in P15, now running in P6. And that red number 188 Audi. And being chased by the 934 Porsche of Jan Barth. Scott Morris now falling back. Jump back here. We've got some battling going on. Retro Coffin under pressure from Nathan Tuck. Paul Morris. But applying pressure at the same time. Excuse me, to Oliver Speed. That is a rarity. Paul Morris driving the Jaguar today. Wow. Don't see that too often. Professor Cronotis getting ahead of Mitchell Santello, now taking up P11 as we got a battle coming to head here. Warwick Veach under pressure from Stephen Dunn, and Dunn looks to the outside there, and can he hold on to it? I'm sorry, Dunn on the inside in that Bentley. Setting himself up to take over and take up P4 over Warwick through Sector 1. Santello and Boscato back there changing blows. Back and forth, dinging each other. Wow! Santello giving a nudge to Boscato right there. With Craig Townsend and Matt Redfern right behind him. A lot of action even through these first 8 minutes, but as you see, there was contact between Santello and Boscato. As Redfern takes up position over Craig Townsend. Now Redfern running away just a little bit. He's able to pull that gap out pretty quickly. Back to the top though, Stephen Dunn and Warwick. We'll keep an eye up there for P4. Dunn had opened that up just a tad, but now looks like Warwick able to bring it back down. Alejandro Avali under pressure from Retro Coffin as Boscato gets back ahead of Santello. Retro Coffin able to take up position, and now Avali going to have to deal with Nathan Tuck. As we take the run down into T1 after 5 laps run. Oh, and very deep there. Avali outbraking himself into T1, looking to hold on as he drops position to Tuck and Morris. Let's jump back up with Santello and Redfern as these two continue to battle. Dan Barth taking up position over Warwick Veach. So much great racing here in the mid-pack. We haven't been paying attention up front. Dylan Platt now catching up on the back end of Choose 420 as Redfern takes up over Santello. Craig Townsend right back there too for P14. There you have it. Choose just barely able to hold on. Amit catching back up. Our top three now within 0.4 of a second of each other. Dylan Platt taking up P2 in the Audi. As we head down the straight, get ready into T1. It's going to be an adventure. Platt cutting it over in front of Amit. Platt with today's fastest lap, taking that away from Tobias Gable with a 137.9. Absolutely amazing in race conditions. Professor Cronotis now falling back. Showing some contact there. Losing his position to Petrovic. Petrovic's taking up over Kaminsky. And able to hold on to it for a P9 spot. And Boscato cutting the inside on Cronotis. Redfearn able to clear as well. I don't know how much I wonder how much damage Chronotis has. He's slowed way down. Santello now getting around. Townsend able to make clear of Chronotis. I wonder, yeah, he's got to have damage or be sitting on something. But let's jump back up. Jan Barth now going to have to play defense against Tobias Gable. Gable looks to the outside, able to make that cut and come right back in on Jan Barth. Coffin and Chronotis now with contact back here. Coffin able to get around. Chronotis dropping again, still dropping. Moscato and Redfearn come back together. Redfearn with the shot up the inside of that corner and just took it from Moscato. No hesitation, no surrender, and no man left behind. That's what that took. And now Redfearn opening up that gap very quickly. We wait for Petrovics and Comiskey now. Nikos right there in the front. Tobias Gable coming back together now with Warwick Veach and able to clear him. And now Tobias taking up P5. Now, Choose 420 not having the easiest race here. Now under pressure from Platt as we run down into T1. Take a look at the comparison here. That gap has been shrinking and shrinking throughout, every lap, just coming closer and closer together. And Platt, with that, able to take up P1. Choose going off into the dirt, dropping to Platt and Amit. 2 positions just like that. Again, we saw it before. Little deep on the break point, and that's all it takes. At least you've got some runoff here. You're not going to smash into a wall, but you are going to lose position. Choose, no doubt, driving frustrated right now. Making more mistakes. Let's check in on Santello and Coffin. Now, to this point, though, 8 laps deep. Why is that like that? Choose 420. With an average lap of 139.835. Honestly, Dylan Platt with a faster lap, 139.356. So on average across this beginning of this race, and so Platt's had the pace on him, but really was only a matter of time. Santello now trying to keep Coffin at bay. Coffin not able to make it happen here. Retro Coffin having a much better race than last week's 3-hour at Watkins. Again, he was involved in a racing incident, and there's by no means me sitting here putting any blame upon him for what happened. It really was a racing incident. 2 cars coming together, a little door banging. Unfortunately, it was enough to push Retro off the track, into the grass, bounce off a wall, and where his car came to a stop, there was nowhere for him to go. He was at the top of a hill. There was no way that this was going to work out well. And he ended up being the first car in a massive, massive pileup. As we watch Scott Morris now tie up on the back side of Santello. But we're going to have to jump up front here soon. Tobias Gable threatening Stephen Dunn for P4. Look now, Tobias there in the red Audi number 188, able to take it up the inside again on Steve Dunn. We've watched Tobias use that inside line several times today against people and gets himself started P15, now up into P4. And we are only about 15, 16 minutes into this 1 hour race. Let's take a look at that number 37 of Dylan Platt. And then we want to tie Tobias in there, that 188 Audi. Take a look at these lap times. So we're looking at 139.235 for Platt up front. Very respectable average lap time across 11 laps. 139.235. Gable so far, his average, a 140.424. So right now, not going to catch. Not yet, but Stephen Dunn and Warwick each now playing back and forth. So Steve Dunn able to get ahead there and keep that position. But as of right now, Gable not catching Platt, right? And the gap now has opened up much bigger than we've seen it up to this point, as far as Platt over Argulu with a 6.1 second gap that's holding pretty steady. 4.65 seconds back to Choose, and another 3.3 to 3.5. Now, normal 1 hour race, I'd say it's anybody's game. You know, Tobias could pick up pace later, you know, maybe on fresh tires. Oh, but wait, he doesn't get any. So he's got to go the next 42 minutes at 63 C degree tarmac temperature. He's got to keep those tires healthy. So will he be able to close in? Possibly. It's really going to come down to, I think, as Retro Coffin takes up P12 over Craig Townsend, it's really going to come down to whose tires or who babies their tires the most. I certainly don't see Dylan Platt babying his tires at all. He's running 137.9, the fastest lap today. Same with Cargulu, a 139.5. You know, these guys are not holding back a lot. So I think it's really going to come down. The second half of this race is really going to come down to how the tires are doing. Jump back real quick. I want to see that Biscotto jumping up on Townsend right here. Looks like Scott Morris was able to get around as well. Yeah, Townsend going way too deep into the corner. Ends up giving up 2 spots to Biscotto and Morris. And now Santello threatening behind him. Retro Coffin has the group right behind him down to T1. Oh, and a push there from Biscotto on the back end of Retro Coffin. Now Coffin gonna drop pace, possibly losing out to Scott Morris, who's right there to take advantage of the incident. No, Morris throws himself off track. So Townsend and Santello picking up position, but Coffin's still under threat now with that push from Biscotto. Tobias Gable now has closed in on Choose 420. Choose coming over. Wants to give him a little nudge, maybe. Oh, hey, I'm here. We're gonna... Oh, yep. There's some red paint on that car now. Choose able to hold on so far. A little bit of contact between the two of them. Oh, and a push from Gable there. Let's back it up real quick. Hard racing, to be sure. Oh boy, that's a curious one. Cannot say that was 100% on Gable, but definitely sent Choose spinning, now down into P7. Stephen Dunn, Warwick Veach, and Jan Barth all picking up position from that. Gable now 8 seconds back from Amit Argulu, but Platt running with it right now has opened the front gap to 10.7 seconds. Take a look at Nikos Handke and Armin Petrovics. Jonathan Biscotto heads into the pits. Stephen Dunn now under pressure from Warwick. Yeah, I don't know, Red. I'd have to review that one. It wasn't the right angle to really review that, so be curious to see, you know, what actually happened there. But that camera angle was not the best one for reviewing that incident, that's for sure. Jan Barth looking to close in on this group as Steve Dunn continues to play defense against Warwick Vich into T1. We've seen so many setups in this first series of corners day right here in the in Sector 1, where someone just finds that right line. They might go to, you know, side by side into T1, and they're able to set themselves up just perfectly to come out of here with a position gained. Not this time, however. Santello picking up P16 over Nathan Tuck. Choose still losing position. Nikos Handke able to move up. But we'll go back up here to Stephen Dunn, Warwick Vich, and Jan Barth. Jan Barth falling back just a tad off these two. Yeah, Leon, we just saw him a few moments ago. He got pushed. So, that'll do it to you. So just trying to compare again lap times, everything between Platt and Gable, because we've seen Gable make such a run today from P15 all the way up. The bad news is, however, that the gap continues to open. At one point, we were as low as, 1.2 seconds. However, at this point, it's opened up to 20.9 seconds between Dylan Platt and number 3, Tobias Gable, or P3, Tobias Gable in the 188 Audi. Choose and Armin Petrovics now coming together. Choose up until the moment of the push, really holding his own during today's race. I mean, doing very well, was up near the front. Certainly had the ability to probably look at that staying on the podium had that incident not occurred. But since then has still lost one position to Nikos Handke. So we'll have to see if he drops any more to Petrovics, Comiskey coming up behind. As we check in on Townsend, Retro Coffin, and Scott Morris back here for P13. Scott Morris and Paul Morris. Should be easy to keep those two together. So Paul Morris looking to get into this group of now 4 cars. Craig Townsend doing fine, actually pulling away a bit right now. Coffin with Scott Morris right there. Michael Santello and Nathan Tuck trading position. Santello taking up P16, but we've got contact back there. Look like anything too serious. Paul Morris and Scott Morris going to battle now behind Retro Coffin. Morris able to sneak by before we get into the corner, and now All Morris with the inside leg on Retro Coffin. Coffin going way wide. Almost allowed that one to happen. I mean, we saw him going into the corner, was way, way deep. It almost looked as though he let that happen. I'm not sure. But Scott Morris and Paul Morris both able to pick up a position. Going around T1. Nikos again under pressure from Choose. With that, folks, I am going to take a quick step away. We're about halfway through today's 1 hour race. Track temperatures holding at 63 C. And it's balmy and sunny. 49 C ambient today in Indianapolis. The drivers holding their own. Not a lot of incidents. I mean, we haven't seen a ton. We've seen a few. They happen every race. But we've not seen a ton of problems in this. Very clean. The drivers really controlling their tire usage. Some great qualifying, even with wanting to preserve their tires as much as possible. Even they really only got one pair. I mean, you got the wets, but only one pair for the weekend. And thus far, really done very well. Just about 32 and a half minutes left to go. As I said, I'm going to take a quick step away. I'll be right back, and we'll be bringing you all the action for the rest of this race. And don't forget, stick around, because we're going to review what's coming up at Box 3 Motorsports. Lots of events all the way through August. We're gonna have a blast. It's the summer of fun. It's like the summer of George, but with no George. It's the summer of fun. We're gonna have a great time. Some great races. We'll talk about them all in just a few minutes. I'll talk to you guys in just a moment. Stick it right here if you want to watch Box Motorsports. And with that, we're back, folks. No major changes. Welcome. Tobias Gable still holding in P3. Let's take a look real quick now that we're about halfway and a little over halfway through this race. Take a look at the position delta, how things have changed throughout it. And Dylan Platt up 8 spots today to number 1, doing a great job. Amit Argulu, dead even. Started in second, staying there. But Tobias Gable right now up 12 spots to number 3. As we jump back, Choose and Petrovic's going to battle back here for P8 right now. We can talk about them. Both of those drivers losing position today. Choose, our pole sitter at the start of this race, now struggling to hold on to P8 as Petrovic's continues to push. Petrovic's down 3 spots today. Matt Redfern up 4, having a great race. Craig Townsend, another one, up 9 positions during the course of today's race, along with Paul Morris and Retro Coffin, both drivers up 8 spots. So a lot of guys having great races. Gable, though, right now, the winner of this race, even if he can't get into first, doing a great job, up 12 spots since the start. And now Choose continues to battle to hold on to P8 over Armand's Petrovic's. Only 3 drivers thus far deciding to take pit stops, and all of them more than likely for damage given the amount of time they sat. 30, 29, 24 seconds. That's Pescado, Chronotis, and Simone Alessandro. Choose able to hold now. That gap's starting to open up back up. But let's take a look a little closer to the front. Steve Dunn, Warwick Veach, and Jan Barth about to come together. Steve Dunn has been doing a great job today. If we can take a look at these real quick as whoa, right there, we're gonna play down the line. Choose and Petrovic's coming together with contact. You see right there, the gap holding thus far. Steve Dunn's going to be able to hold on to it into T1. Just taking a look at how this gap has lined up today. Done with an average lap time across these races of a 141.076. Warwick with a 141.161. So these guys really close, within a 1/10 of a second of each other. And it shows how quickly. But now Warwick pushing, looking to take up P4 before the end of this race. Dunn dipping in and not quite letting him have it right there. Dunn holding on for one more lap. As pieces of foam get knocked around the track from earlier incidents. And I back for P15 to Santello, Retro Coffin, and Abali looking to come together. Abali and Retro Coffin close now. But there it is, down the line again. Warwick closing this in right on that start-finish straight for 2 laps in a row. But as I said, and Gable spun. Uh-oh. Steve Dunn with still it's gonna be left with about an 6-second gap up to Gable if he can hold on. Warwick up the inside. there you have it. Warwick Vice able to take over Stephen Dunn, but Dunn gonna take it this time right back to him. Like I said, these guys' average lap times are within a tenth of each other so far. So this kind of battling could continue right up until the end of this race. Retro Coffin now with contact with Abali and losing position to Nathan Tuck in the back of the field. But we'll keep our eyes right here. The question is, when is Jan Barth maybe going to be able to capitalize from this battle? These two distracting each other, and Jan Barth able to find a location where he can just sneak right through. Oh, and Choose off track and losing 2 spots to Petrovics and Redfern. While we were watching that little battle, and the battle continues because here we are again, another lap down. About a 0.4 of a second gap as those guys cross the line. But since they first crossed paths, the widest this gap has been about 1.9 seconds, and it's continued to shrink. It went back up, we climbed back up to a 1.3. But Steve Dunn's been able to hold his own so far. Like I said, my question is, when is Jan Barth going to look for an opportunity to take both of them? Hopefully it doesn't happen because of, contact or something. Steve Dunn stretching his legs now, opening that second up to 1 gap. Choose off track and now jumps into the pits, dropping all the way back to P15. I think that race might be over for Choose. Let's jump back here. Biscotto and Chronotis. Running identical cars here. The number 50 and the number 42. And there it was, Choose dropping out of the server. Uh-oh, and Warwick and Jan Barth now battling for P5. All kinds of stuff going on today. So now Jan Barth able to take that position, but Warwick not looking to give up anytime soon. Jan Barth, another one, having a great race today, up into P5. Tobias Gable still holding on to P3, now about 10 seconds over Stephen Dunn. Warwick around the inside and cuts it right back over, able to take that Honda back up into P5, take that. Oh, and a warble there, hit the curb, almost drug it out, but able to recover just in time to keep P5 out of Jan Barth's reach. Lots of fun racing today. The track is on fire. 62C track temperature, a balmy 49C ambient at Indianapolis today. A lot of fun to watch this. Again, casual racing at Box3 Motorsports. Let's talk for a minute. Hey, because you're going to want to come back next week. Because next week, if you think it's hot today, next week it's going to be cold. Now, I do believe there's a minimum temperature that the track can go to in ACC. I'm not sure what that is. Might be 9, might be 15 C. But either way, that track's going to be cold at the Circuit of the Americas. next Sunday, August 14th, 6 p.m. UTC, 2 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. It's going to be way cold. Get ready. It's going to be a ton of fun. As I said, there's so much stuff coming up this month. August 20th, Mount Panorama, 6-hour endurance with 949 and Trackalicious. Going to be an absolute blast. You can watch all the coverage right here at twitch.tv/box3_motorsports. We're carrying that race. I love the mountain. I'm going to be here the whole 6 hours with you. It's going to be an absolute blast. And in this summer series, there is another one coming. It's a punch-out race. I'll have more details for you on that next week during the ice rink event. But suffice to say, drivers are going to be dropped as they come in last or next to last, what have you, whatever that decision is. I think a lot of that will be based on turnout. But until then, as I said, I'll have all the details for you on that next week. So stick around. You're going to be able to watch all those races right here. And coming up in October, a full 24-hour race as we watch here. Whoa, Warwick off into the grass. Just barely able to keep Jan Barth at bay. Gets back on track just in time. And now Nikos is going to join in the fray. Back behind these guys, we've got Armand Petrovic and Matt Redfearn coming together. So we'll keep an eye there as well. Lots going on. As I was saying, though, come October, get ready. As Nikos takes up position over Jan Barth. And looks to shoot it up the inside on Warwick. It doesn't work out for him as he takes the runoff and is going to have to turn around. Again, not the first time we've seen that happen today. Nikos losing a ton of positions now as he looks to get back out on track. And now the battle between Warwick and Jan can continue. Nikos dropping to P9 after that. Always an adventure trying to talk about stuff while racing's going on. Nikos now dropping way back all the way to P12. Craig Townsend and Scott Morris coming together. Audi versus Audi. Nathan Tuck now off track, dropping down. We see Biscotto all the way down in P20 as we continue to lose drivers who have lost hope. As I was saying, October, 24 hours of racing right here at Box3 Motorsports. All for charity. It's our 1-year anniversary as a league. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. Make sure y'all get it on your calendars, October 15th and 16th. And yes, you will be able to watch 100% of the race coverage right here at Box3 Motorsports. Armand Petrovic's now against the wall. So now Warwick and Jan picking up position. Redfearn getting around. So Warwick moving himself back up into P5. Petrovic's dropping into the pits and now quickly losing position. Tires are failing. You got to wonder how many of these are punctures. We don't know, right? We can't talk to the drivers. Got to wonder how many of these are punctures. The tires just finally gave up the ghost. Pressure's through the roof because of the heat, whatever it is, and they just can't even drive anymore, right? And I do really wish they'd stick around and stay in the pits for the remainder of this race. 13 and a half minutes left to go. But it's really curious. How many of these are punctures? I'm sure we'll find out in the Discord. But a lot of fun today watching all these drivers try and keep on track with one set of tires. Uh-oh, Comiskey under pressure from Townsend. Scott Morris right there looking to take advantage as well. It's going to be interesting, and we're all heading into the grass. Scott Morris getting around Craig Townsend, but Comiskey holding his own for now. With no spare set of tires, if Armand's did have a puncture, his race is over. And we've now lost Petrovic as he drops out of the race. Stick around at the end of the race, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to talk about everything that's coming up for Box 3 Motorsports. Lots of great stuff happening. We talked about this summer series, but don't forget Season 4 is going to kick off in September. Again, we have that 24-hour race coming up in October. iRacing. We've got Xbox. 2 Xbox seasons running right now. A Saturday regular Season 4 and Sunday casual GT4 racing. We'll get a chance to talk about all that stuff here at the end of today's race. And we're going to make sure we share the love today, because let's face it, sim racing is all about fun. It's all about enjoying your hobby. We're going to make sure we share the love a little bit today. We're going to head over to Owned Racing right after the conclusion of our Glorious Lava event at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Comiskey and Morris continuing to battle. Craig Townsend, again, much like Jan Barth earlier, Craig Townsend just looking for that opportunity, whether these two make contact, whatever it might be. Townsend's sitting, he kind of holding back a little bit, just waiting for that chance to take his shot and gain up 2 spots all in one. Race MVP today, though, has got to be Tobias Gable, up 12 spots and claiming a podium, coming all the way up from P15. And it is his race to lose right now. A puncture could still take him out, but he's got, at this point, 17 seconds over Stephen Dunn. Scott Morris taking up that number 8 spot from Comiskey. And now Craig Townsend will have his opportunity. We are stacking them deep down the straight into T1 today at Indy. There it is, Craig Townsend taking it up from Comiskey. Thought we had a slide at Comiskey right there, but he's holding his own, keeping it together. Dylan Platt has opened this up to 40 seconds of lead time over Amit Kargulu in P2. And Tobias Gable only 3.6 back off of Kargulu. We'll take a quick look here. So Kargulu running lap time of about a 140.8. Gable with the faster lap times, a 140.713. So again, very close, right? Very close, but still looking to close in. I just don't think he's going to have enough time to do it in 8.5 minutes. Coming down the line now, Scott Morris and Craig Townsend into T1. Audi versus Audi. Must be my birthday. Townsend able to sneak up the inside. Well, and really, that's what we're waiting for, right, Monkey? Because we don't know why some of these drivers that were doing very well in today's race dropped out. Was it punctures? Kind of thinking maybe, but you never know. They could have just thrown it off track as well and decided with 10 minutes left they were done. I'm sure, again, we'll hear all about it on the Discord. Drivers spreading out now for the final minutes of our race today at Indianapolis. Dylan Platt doing a fantastic job, gaining a ton of position to get up front. Amit Kargulu, a good race. I mean, look, qualified in second, has held on to second throughout the entirety of this event. you can't complain about that, right? Had his challenge into first, wasn't quite able to hold on to it, but we've seen the pace difference between Platt and Cargulu, and Platt definitely was going to take that spot back. The Cinderella story today, though, Tobias Gable in the red number 188 Audi, a 12 position gain to take up P3 and claim a podium, provided his tires hold out for the last 6.5 minutes. Just a great drive. Let's take a look at those position deltas again, just to show. Craig Townsend, another one like Gable, having a great race. Paul Morris, the same thing. I mean, double-digit position gains is nothing to sniff at when it comes to a race like this, where that track temp is holding at 62 degrees right now. The tires are just burning off these things. Even the ambient 49 degrees C. I mean, you reach a point where, do your brakes have any time to cool when you come off of them out of a corner? Especially, you know, sector 1 here at Indy is it's corner after corner after corner. You're on the brakes, off the brakes, on the brakes, off the brakes. So do they have any time to actually cool off when the ambient temperature is 49 C? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe not. They might hold a lot of temperature as well, so brakes could be burning down a lot today. Not just tires. But Warwick and Jan coming back together. Warwick gonna look to the inside. We've seen this play more than once. It looks like he's got it. Like a little bit of rubbing right there. Rubbin's racing. Let's go. Jan letting him know he's still there. So Warwick able to take P5 back from Jan Barth. 963 and 934. Let's take a look at those two real quick. Just to look at lap times here, how this gap, I mean, these guys have crossed paths now 3 times during the course of this race. Barth with a 141.6 average across the entire race, and Vike with a 141.6. So again, very close lap times. Check on Dylan Platt there with contact between himself and Professor Chronotis. Chronotis, the back marker there. Hopefully not going to cause any problems right here at the end of the race, as Platt's able to clear 2 back markers. So going back to what I was saying, Warwick and Jan, I mean, it's literally a 141.600 for Barth and a 141.645. So 45 hundredths of a second separating these two in lap times. It's great to see that we can call that out and see why we've crossed paths. Actually, they've crossed paths 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times during the course of this race. These guys have passed each other. So a continuous battle for the entire hour. Stephen Dunn holding on to P4 right now, but only about a second gap back to Warwick. As I said, very close racing right to the end. These lap times have really changed too, from if we look at the best laps to their last laps, right? Dylan Platt 139.570, his last a 142.125. Argulu losing about a second in his. Now Tobias Gable can't really look at, because his last lap he had issues with in regards to he got spun and had to play catch up, so that lap not really very comparable. But right now across the board, about a second to a second and a half gap between what drivers are showing as their best lap versus what they're showing as the laps now. And we might have a Donnybrook right here at the end today. Warwick Veach gaining on the back end of Stephen Dunn to come into the end of this race. 2 minutes and 20 seconds to go. We're about 2 laps away from finishing. We're going to see if Stephen Dunn can hold on to P4 today. Little nudge right there. Warwick letting him know, hey, knock, knock. You want to open the door? Steve Dunn not wanting to do that, looking to hold on to that 4th position to finish today. Only 2 laps he's got to do it for. Warwick shooting hard up the outside. And able to claim up P4 from Stephen Dunn. And now Jam Barth going to join in this party. See if Dunn's able to hold Barth at bay. Oh, and off into the grass is going to give Barth enough time. It is. Jam Barth taking up P5 now from Stephen Dunn. Dunn obviously getting very flustered on squirrely tires at this point. Lost the position, lost P4 to Warwick Veach. And now Jam Barth has taken up P5 from him. Retro Coffin and Simone Alessandro battling back here for P15. Warwick just opening it right up. As Barth and Dunn had to battle, Warwick was able to open up over 2 seconds from Barth. Now, Warwick with some clean air. Looking to string this out the last 10 seconds of the race timer running down. Dylan Platt coming across the line right before the end. We'll do one more lap. Get down here with Craig Townsend and Scott Morris now to pick up the action here. Another Audi battle. Fights right to the end today, but it looks like most of everybody's tires are holding on. We started the day with 23 drivers, still 19 out there on that very sweaty tarmac right now. Townsend going way wide. See if this will allow Morris to capitalize here on the last lap. Not quite though. Morris just couldn't quite take advantage there. All of these drivers very close. You see it on your screen between Warwick, Barth, Dunn, Redfern, and now Redfern and Dunn coming together as we come down the line. Even Dunn not done. I think he thought his race was over. I don't know if he's trying to break arrow or if he thought the race was over, but it's not. Now Matt Redfern towards the inside. These two will be dealing with Retro Coffin as a back marker here in just a moment. And Dylan Platt is your winner today at Indianapolis. Flores Lava, get ready. Track is still 62C. Dylan Platt able to pull it out. And that number 37 Audi. And not just pull it out, but I mean, a 50-second gap back to Cargulu in P2 is just crazy. I mean, he must have had clean air the majority of this race. Obviously ran in some back markers, but overall, just straight ran it out over the course of this race. Really played the tires, was able to hold on to him throughout the entire hour. Great job on Dylan Platt today. And if we take a look at the position delta, he had to gain 8 spots to get up there and really had the pace to hold on to it. So 8 positions up to take the win in today's race. Argulu crossing P2. Started out P2, able to hold on to it today. Tobias Gable is your position 3 winner today. Gable up 12 spots from number 15. and a great run by him. That is your podium here for Floor is Lava at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Jan Barth, Steve Dunn, Matt Redfearn all crossing the line. Craig Townsend now running out ahead of Scott Morris. As you see the checkered flags fly, that is the list for today's race. It is live on your screen. Craig Townsend able to hold on there at the end to claim P8. Excellent racing today. A lot of fun from these guys. This was a blast. It was fun as hell. I mean, I don't know how much difference it made. We'll have to talk to the drivers on Discord, see, you know, did the heat do anything crazy to you? I'm sure it did. I can't imagine it was easy. But excellent racing overall. Very clean. Right? I think it was a very clean race. I think that's fantastic. So, as I promised, though, we're going to talk real quick. Don't leave me. Don't leave. Okay? We're going to COTA next week, Circuit of the Americas. And unlike today, where it was 62C, it's going to be single digits next week. Get ready. It's going to be crazy. Single digit track temps. Tires are going to be solid blocks of ice. You're never going to get them warm. It's just going to be insane. And Scientist Monkey in the chat said it might even be at night. They get it even colder. That'd be fantastic. August 20th, again, 6-hour endurance. I love endurance races. 949, Trackalicious, and Box 3 coming together to go to Mount Panorama. We're heading down under. And you can watch all 6 hours right here at Box3 underscore motorsports at twitch.tv. Please join us for that. If you are a console racer, don't forget Season 4 of Xbox continues. We got 2 weeks left there. And for the month of August, we're running GT4 Casuals on Sundays. That's actually about to go kick off. Go watch my boy B-Fife if you don't believe me. Go watch B-Fife if you don't believe me, because he, yeah, go watch my boy B-Fife. In fact, we're going to go watch B-Fife in just a moment, so stay right here. Don't go anywhere. If you like iRacing, though, TCR Season 1 kicks off August 13th. That's next Saturday. I personally can't make that first race, but I'm hoping to make the rest of them. We are taking off the endurance weekend, so the next race at Lime Rock be August 27th. Look, folks, overall, fun time today. Season 4 for PC ACC kicks off in just a few weeks, but until then, so many events. Don't forget to watch for the announcement for the 24-hour race in October for charity. We're raising money again for Extra Life. It's Box 3's 1-year anniversary. I'm gonna ask y'all to come by for that. We're gonna have a ton of fun during that 24 hours. It's not just a race, it's an adventure. We're gonna have events. We're gonna do all kinds of stuff. I'm gonna try and do all kinds of shit that's gonna be just a blast. So stick with me. Don't go anywhere, guys. Everybody in the chat, please stay here, because we're going to go raid B-Fife right now. He is live for the Xbox GT4 Casuals on Sunday. So we're going to jump over there, and we're going to hit him right now with a raid. Go watch the Xbox guys. They have a great time. Spectator mode on Xbox doesn't work right now. It kind of sucks, because we can't even even if we wanted to broadcast, we couldn't, because spectator mode doesn't work. So go watch B-Fife drive. He's going to have a lot of fun in that GT4. I love you. Everybody have yourselves a great week. Come back next Sunday for the ice rink race. It's going to be a blast.